Good morning, everybody. It's 10 o'clock. I'm Sarah Bear Sennett, president of Oldways, and I'm very pleased to welcome you to our Heritage Cooking class. And in collaboration with Age Friendly Boston from the City of Boston Mayor's Office and Armenian Heritage Park on the Greenway. And before we get started, I wanted to welcome Andrea Burns from Age Friendly Boston to give a welcome.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so pleased that we were able to do this today and to continue what has been an absolutely joyous experience for me, and I know for so many residents within the city. And also to just really highlight Sarah's work at Oldways and just what a remarkable organization it is. And we're so grateful that we're going to be able to continue this series with them, and just the importance of right now, doing things like this. I feel very strongly that this is a really good way for us to, to try to kind of cope with what's going on right now. So many people, more people are cooking at home than ever. A lot of people are getting food brought in. We know we are delivering lots of vegetables and fruit to people that they're very grateful for, but not everybody knows exactly what to do with them. And so we're hoping that this is really a way to, continue to cook, to nourish ourselves, to be as healthy as we can be, and to come together a little bit at least, and to have some of the experience that we all had together, and now do this in this new world. And I hope everyone is staying as healthy as possible and as coping as well as can be in this time. So we're hoping that this is really an opportunity for us all to have an opportunity to just really come together and celebrate food, celebrate the nourishment of food. And it's never more important than it is right now. And this is going to be continuing for the next 5 weeks. We have a session on the 15th, the 22nd, the 29th, and June 5th. So please join us for the other sessions as well. And I look forward to, hopefully, I can't see everybody though. Can we see people on here? I don't know. No. But if I can, no, we can't see anyone. Okay, anyway. Hello. Okay, so I'm gonna give it back to Sarah now, and hope everybody enjoys the class, and I'll see you again soon, next week.
Thank you very much, Andrea. I agree with you. This is a perfect time to be doing heritage cooking and talking about the old ways, the healthy, sustainable old ways. For those of you not familiar with Oldways, we are a nonprofit food and nutrition organization based in Boston, and we are helping people live healthier, happier lives through cultural food traditions like the Mediterranean diet, which is the focus of today's class. Oldways was founded in 1990 to preserve and promote the old ways of cooking, eating, and producing food. And we started with the Mediterranean diet in the early 90s because there was the most nutrition science research about the Mediterranean diet, and because it was the most approachable for Americans. And it's quite appropriate to be talking about the Mediterranean diet today, this month in May. It is Mediterranean Diet Month. Since 2009, we have celebrated Mediterranean Month in May. And I urge you to check our website, which is oldwaysptpreservationtrust.org. We have all sorts of activities, cooking challenge, a Mediterranean cooking challenge each week. We also have many recipes and resources. Make Everyday Mediterranean, a 4-week menu plan for Mediterranean eating. And we'd love to have you check out and participate in our challenge. The Mediterranean diet has been around for hundreds of years. It is the way people eat in the countries around the Mediterranean Sea, Spain, Italy, Greece, Malta, Turkey, Cyprus, and moving to the Eastern Mediterranean, Lebanon, Cyprus, Jordan, Israel, and then also North Africa. Sometimes we forget about that. And it is a largely plant-based diet, abundant in fruits and vegetables, whole grains, olive oil as the fat. It's really the hallmark of the Mediterranean diet. Nutrition scientist Antonia Trikopoulou from Greece likes to say olive oil makes the medicine go down, makes the food go down. And there are also nuts and beans, plant proteins, herbs and spices, fish twice a week, and then smaller amounts of poultry, traditional cheeses, and then even smaller amounts of red meat and sweets. Also included a little bit of wine, drinking wine with meals, a glass of wine per day for women and 2 for men. Be sure to have enough water. And then there's also lifestyle attributes, activities, walking, running. It doesn't have to be in full-fledged marathons, but just keeping active, gardening, cooking, eating with your family. So in the early 1990s, the government policy was low-fat, and people were eating lots of low-fat foods. And Oldways, with the Harvard School of Public Health and nutrition scientists from the Mediterranean, Europe, and the US, were looking for a new approach. And the USDA had just introduced the USDA pyramid. And so we took the characteristics of the Mediterranean diet and created the first Mediterranean diet pyramid. This is the current version, but in 1993, it was similar, but wasn't quite as well illustrated. And in 1993, the Mediterranean diet was really a radical approach, although today it's at the top of the best diets list every year. And because Americans didn't understand or know anything about olive oil or a lot about Mediterranean cooking, we started a program where we brought chefs and food writers and retailers to different parts of the Mediterranean so that they would bring back the Mediterranean diet to consumers. They would write stories, cookbooks, put new dishes and olive oil on restaurant tables, olive oil on grocery shelves, and it was a raising of awareness about the Mediterranean diet. And we still do these culinary journeys, not right now, of course, because of the current times. The last one we did was with Chef Anna Sortun. We always bring a chef with us. It was in Cyprus. And in March, we had planned to go to Portugal with John Da Silva from Chickpea, and perhaps this fall in Naples and Amalfi with Michael Lombardi from SRV. So please look at our website. The culinary journeys are really exciting ways to learn about cooking and Mediterranean products. So when we're ready to travel again, we will restart this program. A few more things about Oldways, because one size doesn't fit all, and because we are a nation of immigrants, we introduced other cultural models for healthy eating: Asian, Latin American, vegetarian, and African heritage. And they will be the focus of the next 4 cooking demonstrations that we have, always Friday at 10 o'clock. And a member of the Oldways staff will be talking about this way of eating and creating some dishes. And the other thing about Oldways, we are also the Whole Grains Council, helping consumers find whole grains through the whole grain stamp, education programs to introduce new whole grains to consumers, and how to cook them and how delicious, healthy, and easy it is to prepare them. And while we base our programming on science, there's always a grounding in nutrition science. We also like to focus on the pleasure, the joy, because we all love food, and cooking and eating are essential. And cooking really is a great way to be more healthy, to be using good ingredients. And we'd love to help you learn how to cook heritage meals, learning that it's easy to do and it doesn't have to be expensive. So let's get the cooking started. We are going to take a small journey around the Mediterranean. In the Eastern Mediterranean, we're going to be making 2 dishes. I think you all have the recipes. Fattoush and Chickpea Salad from Pantelleria, which is an island between Sicily and Tunisia, a Pantescan Salad. In Puglia, the heel of the boot in Italy, we'll be making a pasta dish, Orecchiette. And then from Spain, we will have a dessert, Torta de Santiago. And that's what we're going to start with right now. This delicious almond cake is called the Santiago cake because it, thank you very much. And I need this bowl too, thank you. Santiago is Saint James, the patron saint of Spain, and he is buried in Santiago de Compostela. And in the Middle Ages, Christians made pilgrimages to Santiago de Compostela. And today, these pilgrimages still happen. They're not necessarily religious. They're more of a challenge. They're called the Camino. You may be very familiar with them. They can vary in length. They start in France, Spain, and Portugal, but they all end in Santiago de Compostela. And throughout the town, in bakeries throughout the town, you will find this cake in the windows, small versions, large versions. And it's incredibly delicious, very easy to make. And for those of you who are gluten-free, it's a perfect dessert. There's no wheat flour. The flour is made from ground up almonds. So let's turn to the recipe. So you will be, I also need the cake pan, the greased cake pan. There it is. So you'll need to grease a springform pan. Thank you very much. So you'll grease the springform pan. You need a pan that the bottom comes out of. And you'll want to preheat your oven to 350. And the first thing that you'll do will be grinding the almonds in a food processor, which because of time and noise, I have already ground these almonds. And you are going to put them in the bowl and mix them with 1.25 cups of sugar. And I'm not using a mixer, but you want to mix this together. Also beat in the egg yolks. You will have separated 6 eggs. Here are the egg yolks. You'll get kind of a paste, creamy paste. And then you'll want to add in, we've done the zest of 1 lemon and 1 orange. So you want to add the zest into this mixture. And continue mixing. And the recipe calls for 4 drops of almond extract. Depends how much you like almond extract, but it's a wonderful flavor. Oh, I can smell, can you smell the almond? So here is what the dough will look like. And before we started, I also took the egg whites and beat them until they're frothy, as if you're making an angel food cake. And then they're added here. And you have to make sure that you've thoroughly mixed it all in together. And then it's poured into the springform pan. And it cooks for 35 to 40 minutes, depending on your oven. It smells wonderful, and it's such a pretty color, too. And for time, we have already made a torta de Santiago for you. One of the things that they do in Spain, it's not necessary for you to do, but they add the cross of St. James. You'll want to, when the cake comes out of the oven, sprinkle confectioner's sugar on this. But if you make a cross and use it as a stencil, you'll have the beautiful cross of St. James. Here's an example of this cross that I used as a stencil. It can be more simple than this, but it makes it fun. So, Torta de Santiago, a wonderful gluten-free dessert, and delicious. Thank you. Next, we're traveling to Pantelleria. It is a small island, only 11 kilometers long, between Sicily and Tunisia. It's actually closer to Tunisia than it is to Sicily, but it's part of the region of Sicily. And you may not know Pantelleria, but you might know capers. Pantelleria is famous for its capers. They are the bud of the flower before it blooms. So it's picked before it blooms. If it's already bloomed, then you end up with a caper berry. And one of the reasons the capers from Pantelleria are so special because the soil is so very minerally because it's a volcanic island. It's also very windy, so the capers grow right along the ground or even on the stone walls that line the island. You may be more familiar of capers in a jar that are preserved in vinegar, brine, but capers from Pantelleria are preserved in salt, and they're especially yummy. They're very plump and very, very flavorful. While you might not be shopping in the village of Pantelleria anytime soon, you are able to buy capers. You can use online sales with Zingerman's or Gustiamo, or if you're in Boston, Italy has them, and Formaggio Kitchen has had them as well. They really are a wonderful treat, and you can add them to all sorts of dishes. You can also learn more about capers. We have a new feature on the Oldways website, oldwayspt.org. It's under the Mediterranean program, and it's traditional heritage ingredients. And capers are one of the ingredients that we have featured. You'll also see videos from Pantelleria as well. We've featured other things, polenta from northern Italy, mastic from the island of Chios in Greece, and from Emilia-Romagna, the wonderful traditional cheese Parmigiano Reggiano, and the traditional balsamic vinegar of Emilia-Romagna, Modena, and Reggio Emilia. So this Pantescan salad that we're making, you can think of it as a new version of a potato salad, or it's a Greek salad without the feta cheese, just uses potatoes instead. So looking at your recipe, it's a very simple assembly. Boiled 3 potatoes. If you haven't tried this, it's very easy to boil them with the skins on and then just peel off the skin while it's hot. So we're putting in the 3 potatoes, also tomatoes. This is a great summer dish. Half moon red onions. 10 black olives, 1/4 of a cup of the capers, and I'm using the capers from Pantelleria, preserved in salt. A pinch of oregano, as much as you like, and extra virgin olive oil. It couldn't be more simple and delicious. So I hope you will try this. If you're using the salted capers, you may not need to add salt. There'll be plenty of salt. So we're going to have a nice lunch here in Exeter, New Hampshire. So our next dish is from the Eastern Mediterranean. It's a chickpea salad. And this recipe and the one for Fattoush come from Oldways High Five curriculum. It's a children's curriculum that we created with the Chefs Collaborative, which was a program of Oldways in the 90s before it became its own nonprofit. The curriculum was created for chefs to teach children in schools. Thank you. We worked with then chair of the Chefs Collaborative, Chef Rick Bayless, and his wife Deanne, to create this curriculum. It includes history, culture, food, cooking, there's math. So there's a lot that can be beneficial for kids. And then you end up with this great salad. I taught this in my kids' schools for a number of years. And I remember once in the middle school, the principal came out of his office saying, "What smells so wonderful?" And it was these 2 salads with the fragrance of lemon juice, fresh squeezed lemon juice. And they're very fresh and clean, both of them. So here with the chickpea salad, I've used canned chickpeas, canned garbanzo beans. You want to look for low or no salt, but if you can't find that, just be sure to really rinse and drain the chickpeas well. So it's one can of the chickpeas. And look at all the amounts. There is 1 clove of garlic crushed. We'll want 2 tablespoons dried mint, which also gives a great flavor. Half a teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, red wine vinegar, and that's it. You can certainly add all sorts of things from your refrigerator. This Chickpeas or beans are like pasta, where they're a canvas. You can add all sorts of other ingredients to make it serve more people, or just to add more flavors. But it is delicious and just very, very fresh. In the Hi-Fi curriculum, it's a flatbread-based curriculum, so it has dishes from around the world, 8 different lessons, and they are all dishes that are served with a flatbread. This one was served with pita bread, which is, of course, very Eastern Mediterranean, and we made it in a skillet, which is really quite simple. It requires yeast and rising, but it's a delicious and a fun activity with kids. And then we're ready for the Fattoush. A Fattoush is a Lebanese or Eastern Mediterranean Syrian bread salad. And the root word for all flatbreads in Arabic is fata, which is how the salad Fattoush got its name. This recipe and also the one for chickpea salad came from Naomi Duguid and Jeffrey Alford in their book Flatbreads and Flavors. They very kindly allowed us to use flatbreads and the accompanying flavors in the curriculum. Nancy Harmon Jenkins also has a really delicious Fattoush recipe in her Mediterranean diet cookbook. This is a beautifully layered salad, and I like to use a glass bowl because you're able to see all the layers and bring it to the table this way, and add the dressing at the table and then mix it in order to serve. The salad dressing is so incredibly simple, and if you're a person who buys salad dressing, you may not buy salad dressing after you've made this. It's just salt and pepper and garlic mixed with an even mixture of lemon juice and olive oil. It's very fresh and clean. So the base level is crumbled pita bread. As in other parts of the Mediterranean, people use this in salads to use up stale bread. There's a Tuscan bread salad too, and I'm sure in other parts of the Mediterranean. So the pita crumbs go at the bottom, toasted. And then we add a flat lettuce. Romaine is good. This is more of a butter lettuce. Just dipped. This is one of my family's favorite salads, and it's also great for dinner parties because it looks so pretty. And while we have a recipe for this, you can certainly add other things. Radishes would be great in this salad. So we have the lettuce. Once again, tomatoes. This is not the summer, but it would be a great dish when tomatoes are in season. So tomatoes, a cucumber, scallions, delicious, and then the herbs, which are really important to the flavor and aroma of this salad. We have mint, fresh mint, and fresh flat parsley. So here you see all the layers in this salad. And then to make the dressing, take a teaspoon of salt and a little bit of pepper and crush it with the back of a spoon with a clove of garlic. And you've got kind of a pasty mix here. And mix an equal amount of, you can't see this, but this is an equal amount of lemon juice and olive oil. And this is a time to use your best olive oil. It's great to have different kinds of olive oil. Really your best when you're going to be tasting the olive oil with a salad like this, or when you're finishing fish. Great time to use a great olive oil. May I have a spoon, please? A little one. Thank you. And then just add the garlic, pepper, and salt mixture. And stir. And then add to the salad, and the bread will absorb some of the salad dressing, becomes extra delicious, and then it's time to toss the salad. So, Fattoush.
Toss it.
No, I'm not. We're not tossing. We're going to toss it later when we eat it.
Okay.
And our last dish is Orecchiette. We are now in the region of Puglia, which is the heel of the boot in Italy. I think that Oldways has spent more time in Puglia than any other place. And I've done culinaries. The last one was with the chef Anna Sortun from Oliana. And this is a recipe that we adapted from her. The traditional pasta of Puglia is Orecchiette, which translates to little ear. I don't know if you can see this, but it's a wonderful shape. It captures the sauce or the beans or the meat that you're serving with the Orecchiette. The traditional pasta dish of Puglia, Orecchiette, della cime di rapa, which is with broccoli rabe, or rapini, which is a cruciferous vegetable that looks very much like broccoli, but it doesn't. This is rapini. I found it in 2 stores yesterday, so it's not just in Puglia, and it doesn't complete the full head like broccoli does, but it's delicious. And this is what we've used in this, and it's part of the traditional dish. Anna also added chickpeas and spring greens, whether it's chard or whether it's spinach. I used spinach today. And because all the boiling and cooking is quite, you have to do a lot of timing, I did things ahead of time so that the Orecchiette, look at the directions on the package to see how long it should be cooked. And 2 minutes before it is completed, you would add the spinach or the chard or whatever spring green you're using and cook it for 2 more minutes. And that's the pasta base for this. And then for the rapini, the broccoli rabe, it is cooked, steamed for 3 minutes, and then chickpeas are added. Once again, you want to drain or rinse and drain these, especially if you have not found low salt or no salt versions of this. And then you're also adding lemon juice, and you're chopping, the rapini has been chopped, and in the very end, it gets all added together. You're saving some of the water from the cooking of the rapini, so if there's a little, if it's not, if it needs to get more moisture, you would add that. So normally this would be hot and easily added together, might want to add some more olive oil and some more water. But this is a delicious pasta dish. The cuisine of Puglia is very representative of the Mediterranean diet. Lots of vegetables, lots of beans, olive oil. The region of Puglia produces more olive oil than any other region. It also produces more grapes than any other region in Italy. So it's delicious, and on its addition of chickpeas, add some great plant protein as well. And so those are our dishes. I don't know if there are some questions that I'll have to get closer to read. Maybe you could read the questions for me. The first one is, what is the book?
Mm-hmm.
And the book is Make Everyday Mediterranean. You can find it on the Oldways website. It's available in digital version, or we can also send you this hardcover version. It's a 4-week menu with breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snacks for 4 weeks. The nutritionals are done. It's basically for a 2,000 calorie a day meal. And it's very easy to follow and delicious.
And the recipes for all the dishes that you made here are in there?
No, the recipes are not in here, but the recipes that I made today are were part of the webinar. And if you want to write, if you don't have them, please write us and we'll be happy to send them to you by email.
Kelly put the link in the...
And Kelly has put the link in so that you can get the recipes right there.
Let's see. And if we have any more here, here's some others. Where can I find the recipes for the items being made? We just covered that. Can you cut the...
You want to, would you like us to cut the cake? Yes, we can certainly cut the cake. Can you bring the cake back?
Mm-hmm.
And while we're waiting for that, next week's class will be African Heritage. Our African Heritage curriculum coordinator, Kamisha Charles, will be conducting that class. And it's the newest of our heritage pyramids. It is based on the culinary traditions of the African diaspora, being Africa, the Caribbean, the American South, and parts of South America. And they're very flavorful. And once again, like the Mediterranean, it follows the same pattern. Although the regions are very different, the healthfulness, the nutrition is all very same. It's the same eating pattern, while the actual fruits or vegetables or beans or herbs or spices might be very different. The healthfulness and the eating pattern are the same. And here is a cutting of the Torta de Santiago. So, right here, and you can put the computer right there, it's great. And it goes wonderfully with fruit and also with sorbet. We sometimes have served it with mint sorbet that we've made ourselves. And I'm reminded of something Kelly Toops, our Director of Nutrition and Oldways dietitian, says, that when you're thinking about dessert, you don't want to really give up sweetness. And it's fine to use sugar, but think about adding nutrition into your desserts. In this case, we've added nuts, almonds being the basis, the flour. You could serve it with fruit to make it an even healthier dish, but think of adding nutrition to your dishes. And do we have any other questions?
Scroll down.
So in the future classes, they will all be on Friday at 10 in the morning. Next is African Heritage, and then Kelly Toops, our Director of Nutrition, will take the Asian diet class, and the Latin American class will be by our former staffer, Paula Garza, and then Caroline Slider, the Whole Grains Council Program Director, will be taking on vegetarian.
Thank you, Sarah, so much for everything. And we look
Thank
forward
you
to
very much, and happy weekend to everyone. Happy
Yes.
cooking, happy eating. It's going to be cold.
Yes, happy eating, happy cooking. Thank you. That was a wonderful, wonderful class.
And happy Mediterranean Diet Month.